Hey guys, well I feel like I'm going to a Catholic priest here. It's been 6 years since my last video, 6 days actually. I think this is the longest I've gone since I started my channel without making a video. I do have a reason for that. I'll talk about that in a minute, but just wanted to say hello. I've missed doing this. I enjoy getting on here and just sharing cards and stuff. You see in the background, I've got 3 of my more recent pickups from Scott over at Reindeer Studios, and I share those in other videos. I just wanted to leave them sitting there for a little bit. This is kind of where I have them sit anyway, in my card room. Anyway, so the reason I haven't been able to do this, I was gone. I've been to Illinois to visit my mother, um, and so I was there. We left and got there, spent pretty much the latter half of the week. Just got back home, drove through the night to get back home today to kind of rest up before the week begins tomorrow. But so while I'm there, my mom had found, she works at she volunteers at a local rescue mission out there, and they do sales and things. And she said she had some cards come through, so she actually saved those for me. I thought I'd show you a few of those. Most of them were some kid. This is the shoebox. Don't want to move it around too much, but you can kind of see from the top what we're getting into. A bunch of cards from the mid to late 80s, all kind of years in that, and Fleer and Donruss and all that. I thought I'd pull out just a few of them to show you. Actually, let me start with these. This is I know some people hate these sport flicks, but I'll just show you a couple of them. Daryl Strawberry, and this one's kind of interesting. This has got, like, it's going to be almost impossible to get it. Got Don Sutton, Phil Necro, and Tom Seaver all in the same one. So that's pretty. I guess if you're gonna have 3 pitchers on one, those aren't a bad 3 to have. But anyway, just kind of a random assortment. Some cards I pulled out. George Brett and Gaylord Perry. Some of these cards that I'll use. I actually have the Steve Carlson. I have several of these, but any tops that are Hall of Famers I pulled out just to double check. I know I have that Reggie as well. I think I have that Tim Raines, but Goose and Eddie Murray, just to sleeve up and put in a box. There we go. Andre Dawson definitely has some paper loss in that one. Some of these were in pretty rough shape. Another Andre Dawson from '86. Anyway, just some. See, another Steve Carlton. Then there were some others that obviously not tops, but either Hall of Famers or just cards players I like. Bill Madlock, Chuck Tanner. There's a Donnie Baseball. I know I have that one as well. A couple of them, I think, but just some neat Andy Van Slyke back when he was playing with the Cardinals. We Pirates fans don't like to think about that too much. Winfield and Schmidt and Ozzie Smith. I was really bummed about this one. This down here, this is paper loss from a rubber band that I had to pull off of it. So a lot of these cards were in pretty rough shape. How about a young Don Mattingly on his '86 Donruss? Anyway, just some cool cards. Josh Gibson from the Hall of Fame Heroes. Anyway, just some neat things. But what the interesting thing about it was, more than the cards, were stickers from the early. I'll show you the newest one. This is from '86. There's an '86 sticker. I never collected these stickers growing up, but '86 there was one of those, and there was one '84. Dave Righetti. I remember Righetti, of course, from my day. There were a bunch of, and those are all tops. These are tops from '81. I put Ricky Henderson on the top, because why wouldn't you? Johnny Bench. I know some Nolan Ryan fans out there. Anyway, you can kind of just see, there's another Don Sutton. Look at that hair. Nice perm he's got going on there. think, yeah, Eckersley is in there. Just a few of them. There weren't a whole lot in that year either. The year that I had the most stickers, and they were just kind of shoved in here, were the 81s, or the 83s. Those were 81s. These are 83 stickers. Should put those a little further back so you can see the pile. 83 stickers. Push them back a little bit further. And 83 stickers. Another pile of them. Again, I never collected these. Again, I pulled out just a few, there's the first one in the set. Hammer and Hank with the gold. Pulled out another Ricky Henderson. That's how he wanted to be remembered. With his dirty uniform. Yaz. Gotta put him down in order to get to focus. Shout out to all the Cubs fans out there. Gotta be one of the most underrated pitchers in Major League Baseball. Fergie Jenkins, that was, by the way. Winfield. There's several Ozzie Smiths in here, but this was the one that I thought exemplified him the best. Going after the ball. Anyway, there were hundreds of these, as you can see in these piles. I mean, like, the funny thing is, on the back of them, you of course have the number. I haven't gone through them yet. I know I'm missing some. I know they're not all here. And so it offers you, if you're missing some stickers, you can, for $1, you can buy 10 stickers of your choice. Now, I've never collected these stickers. It's never something I did. But if you have, I'll do better than Tops. And if you want any of these, you just let me know. I'll dig through and see what I have. And there's some that you want. I don't know of anybody on here that collects them. But if you do, or if you know somebody, let me know. There were some Fleer ones as well, and I'll show you why this was interesting. So, how about another Donnie Baseball? There was maybe I didn't show my other Don Mattingly, but anyway, it's from the Fleer set. Pete Rose. Just some, not many of these Fleer ones, but Bly 11, Raines, Schmidt, another Bly 11. You can see I've got doubles of quite a few of them. Same is true with the top stickers. That was interesting because along with the stickers themselves, there was a sticker book for Fleer that somebody had started, but it's not the same year. So those Fleer don't have a year on the back, and this book doesn't have a year in it either, but you can see some of them have been stuck in here. Sometimes just the team sticker. That's Reggie Jackson in there. You know, just anyway, just an interesting. So this was all in this little box of stuff that my mom grabbed from the rescue mission. If you want to know how to play touch football, Jim Zorn, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, is more than happy to teach you. And then these books, Pat Summerall's All-Time Great Sports Stars Collection. Books 1 through 4. And I'm not going to flip through all these, but you can see a lot of baseball players, probably more baseball than any other sport, but also a decent amount of boxers. Certainly some basketball players, bowler, got a Campy, and all it is just a little page and a half, really, page and a half with a picture, because it's a complete and valuable 4-volume collection from True Value. I'm sure I can retire off the millions I make from those. My complete and valuable set. Bunch of stickers, bunch of team stickers, and then had some very very different things. How about a Snoopy? That's from 1958. Assuming that made a deck of cards. Actually, there was another one of them in here. So So I have the 9 of spades and the 5 of spades. E.T. Some Gremlins. This is from Jackson's. Speaking of Michael Jackson. A couple Michael Jackson. Just a weird assortment of things in there. Those are not really anything I'm too interested in, to be honest, but just funny the things that were, obviously some kid had a box of cards and stickers and picked up a pack or two of something else. Actually, that one sticker, I guess I could point that out. This is something that came in a box of cereal. This is a Kellogg's Jackson's TV special, which was not something I ever watched. So, anyway, in town there, they had a card store, but it was only TCG, so I didn't actually go to the card store, but I did go to the antique store. Picked up some packs, including some Fleer 95. This is a pretty cool card. This is from the All-Star game. Happened in Pittsburgh. So the National League, on the national side, they have Mariano Duncan. On the American League side, let's see if I can get to focus, Roberto Alomar. And so it has the National League and American League symbols on the bottom left. On the right, it says Pittsburgh Pirates 1994 All-Star Game. That's a pretty cool card. I never opened 95 Fleer, so I don't really know anything about that. But I just bought some packs. There were just some packs of these cards from the 90s and late 80s, so I got a couple packs. I got that Eckersley pack. Shout out again to the Ozzy collectors. Got a 92 Fleer Ultra Ozzy. Got a couple packs of those. Some 91 Ultra Cal Ripken. Not sure why I pulled that card out. That's just that Fleer. I was more interested there in just buying some. They had some singles. They had some actual vintage cards. They had one display, but like most antique malls, they were all priced kind of according to however the person wanted to sell them. And he had those vintage. They were 68s, and he had I think it was a Louis Aparicio for $30. I wanted to tell the person in charge, like, listen, I can go buy one of those on eBay for less than $5, but I didn't. But they did have some of these in another place. This is Ryan Sandberg. I was in Illinois, so a lot of Cubs stuff. But this is pretty cool here. I've got the 86 tops. I've got a couple of them, but I did not have the O-Pee-Chee. It's a pretty nice O-Pee-Chee. Ryan Sandberg, and that's got it for $1. Yaz, 80 for $1. Joe Morgan, McCovey, picked up an 83 Eddie Murray, which I may have that one, but anyway, I didn't know at the time, and so I grabbed it. Then the Robin Yount Fleer card, very cool. So anyway, it's kind of a fun trip. Just good to see you. I saw my mom and brother and a few of my sisters. Actually, all three of my sisters. I should show one more. I did get an Andre Dawson out of those Fleer Ultra. I love that card. Such a cool Dawson card. Anyway, that's all I had to show for cards. I wanted to talk about something, so I'm going to turn the camera around and do that. I'm going to kind of do this video differently than I usually do it. I'm going to end by talking to you face to face, and that way the people who don't care about my opinion on something can just shut it off and go away. But I wanted to talk about something that's coming up in the community from a couple different places, and just thought I don't share opinions about things that people are talking about too often, but this is one I thought I should. So anyway, let me show you. Turn this around. I'll talk to you a little bit about card shows. So what I wanted to talk about was sports card shows and Pokemon cards, and this came up in a For Collectors video recently, and then it came up in Adam and Dylan doing talking about Pokemon sports cards and kind of their relation and hobby stuff, and talked a little bit about card shows in their recent Turn Back the Clock episode, which Adam and Dylan, if you're listening or watching, thank you. I listened to that. I didn't watch it. I listened to it somewhere around midnight last night as I was driving through Indiana, so getting home, Indiana, Ohio. So I really appreciated you helping me stay awake. Anyway, uh, I know a lot of card collectors who go to shows, and I love card shows. I love going to card shows. I'm planning on going to another one next month in Pittsburgh, actually Washington. But um, I enjoy going to card shows. I enjoy going to sports cards only card shows. I go to one when I went to Strongsville last year. That was quite enjoyable for me. I really liked that, and I have one local one that's mostly sports cards. Maybe he'll have 30 tables or something, and maybe have one table that'll have a box of Pokemon cards. But it's just to kind of keep kids occupied who only do Pokemon. But a lot of people are of the opinion that we shouldn't do kind of mixed, or at least if we're going to have Pokemon and sports cards at the same show, they should be separated, like put them in separate rooms. And I understand all of that. I enjoyed Strongsville. I enjoy those things, but a big part of my collecting is collecting with my sons. In particular, my older son, who does a lot more collecting than my younger one. He likes to collect, but doesn't quite enjoy it as much as the older one does. But the older one collects some football, collects some a little bit of baseball, but mostly collects Pokemon cards, and has just a huge collection of Pokemon cards, and spends time sorting and binders and all that. He doesn't flip. He does trade a lot, and he doesn't mind selling some cards to there's a semi-local card shop that will buy cards at 40% or something for store credit, and so he'll do that. But when I go to card shows, oftentimes I go to card shows with him, and and honestly, if they didn't have Pokemon, his interest would wane. And so I don't want them to separate, and I don't mind having one thing they do in the Washington one is it's in a mall, and it's in a mostly defunct mall. The mall doesn't really have a lot of shops or stores in it. It has a couple, but not many. And so they use a lot of those rooms for the card shows. And so they'll often have one room that's all Pokemon, and so that's good. I like that they do that. But I also like that he and I can go to a card show and spend time in the same room, even though we're interested in two very different types of cards. There's if they sell Pokemon, I walk right by. But you know what? If they sell vintage baseball, he walks right on by too. And so that's okay though, because we can be within 20 feet of each other, and if he wants to come show me something that he just purchased, he can come over and show me because I'm right there, and he doesn't lose kind of where he's at, and he can go right back to the table or to the next table or whatever he wants to do. And so for me, I understand that people who don't collect with their kids can struggle with that, can struggle with the idea of having those things at the same show. But I don't. I actually, while I love that Strongsville doesn't, and I don't think that they should, I like that other shows do. Now, one point that was made during I can't remember who made it during the Four Collectors episode, they talked about if it's called a sports card show, you should have over 50% of your tables be a sports card show. That's fair. That's a fair criticism. I don't like going to shows that advertise themselves as sports card shows and then don't have many sports card tables. I found that if I will message the people, they will tell me roughly a percentage. But the ones that I go to around here, they tend to advertise themselves as both, if they are both. And so I'm glad that they do that. It kind of helps me know what I'm getting into. It also helps me know how to advertise it to my children. Hey, look, there's going to be some Pokemon tables, so do you want to go with me? Um, so that's just my opinion, and I realize that in this community, I'm probably in a minority, that I want Pokemon cards at card shows, and I am in an even more of a minority when I say I don't want them in separate rooms. I don't mind some of that, because I don't mind my son being able to go into a room that's all Pokemon, and he really likes that. But I don't want him to be that far from me for the whole show, because we go there, we spend, this Washington one that we'll go to, I think they're advertising 500 tables. It'll probably be roughly half and half, or 200, 300. And Pokemon will probably be about half of those tables, maybe slightly less, um, but we'll spend hours there, and if we spend 5 or 6 hours there, or even 4 hours there, and he spends an hour separated, or 2 hours even separated from me, that still is a couple of hours where we're in close proximity, and we can talk about kind of what each one of us is picking up and getting along the way. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. If you've paid any attention and if you care about my ramblings, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching any of my videos, and I probably don't say this often enough, but thank you if you like and comment and subscribe and all of those things. It's great. I love the interactions on here. They're some of my favorite things that I get to do. I really enjoy the back and forth, both on my videos and on other people's videos. So anyway, just thanks for that, and we'll see you next one. It will not be 6 days, so my next video, I've already got a couple kind of in the works that I'm thinking through. Of course, I missed my Hall of Fame one last week, but I've got one I'm working on for this week. So anyway, enough of that. Need to end this video before it drags on for too long. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.